Hi ladies, this is Ashley, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the most common behaviors that tend to siphon a woman's feminine energy and how that can keep you from fully feeling your power, sabotage your happiness, and just prevent you from embodying your most authentic self. So these habits oftentimes run subconsciously, underneath the surface of your awareness. So you may not be aware of them, you may not be aware that you're doing them, but that's why I made this video, and that's what we're going to dive into today. So usually they form in childhood. We develop certain habits and behaviors just because they serve to protect us and kind of keep us safe when we're little kids. But yet as adults, sometimes they can start to work against you and kind of push away the things that you really want and the people that you really want. So let's jump right into those behaviors. Behavior number one is going to be that good girl disease, that otherwise known as like the people pleaser, nice girl syndrome, doormat syndrome. And this can show up in many different ways, such as maybe putting other people's desires or feelings above your own, maybe dismissing your true needs and allowing other people to kind of devour you so you can keep their love, or maybe when you ignore how you really feel because deep down you feel like you don't matter. So the reason this siphons your feminine energy is because you're not actually listening to yourself. And the feminine is all about being within your own body, having like that heightened intuition, that heightened inner wisdom, being deeply connected to your soul, connected to your emotions, connected to how you feel. So if you dismiss all of that and you kind of listen to other people more than you listen to yourself, you do end up creating a cycle of self-abandonment, and that really does disconnect you from your feminine. So the feminine is all about expressing the authentic you. So you have to understand that like being the good girl, being the people pleaser, the nice girl, the doormat, that actually isn't genuine. The real you has a voice. The real you has standards and boundaries and limits and unique opinions. So when you dismiss that part of you and you only attach to this mask, this persona of being nice, that's actually quite manipulative because you're kind of baiting people with a false image of who you are. You're telling other people what they want to hear, or maybe doing what you think they want you to do in order to keep them around you. And something else to consider is that when you hide the real you and you kind of put on this mask of just being the nice girl, you're actually objectifying yourself and kind of training other people to view you as something to use, something to consume when you play that role. And I know that's not what you really want. What you really want is for other people to view you and to see you and feel you as a whole woman, a woman who has many layers and textures and flavors and expressions to herself. So you do have to show that to other people if you want to be respected and in order to be fully embodied in that feminine energy within you. So let me know down below in the chat box if you can relate to that behavior. Behavior number two is going to be the performer. So this one happens most likely because in your youth, in your childhood, maybe you were praised more for what you were doing for other people rather than for who you naturally were. So this trains you to feel as though your only worth is to kind of jump through hoops to entertain other people and, doing it at the expense of your well-being or doing it at the expense of your own authenticity. So the feminine energy is your being energy, so what that means is you're okay with being yourself. You're kind of okay with being relaxed and in the moment and with your authenticity. And oftentimes as kids, we do get conditioned to feel as though we have to work hard for love, that we have to chase other people for love, and this is where you might find yourself kind of constantly feeling like you have to prove yourself, constantly always putting on a show for other people to get that attention, to get that hit of validation, to constantly get that feeling of importance. You're kind of always doing something, always feeling like you have to do something to feel important and to feel significant. So what I want for you is to really get to that point where you embody that inner knowing that you are worthy just for being you, and you don't always have to chase or perform for other people in order to feel validated. But that can actually be a tricky thing to heal just because it is an embedded pattern that's probably been running for a long time. So it is going to require some deep cleansing, some deep inner work, and deeper inner healing. And if you would like further support on that, then make sure you view my online programs and my mentoring options. You can click those links down below in the description box to learn more about my healing methods, because I have created a lot of very powerful, majestic, magical healing methods that are designed to help you realign yourself with the essence within you. That's the part of you that's inherently worthy and divine. And it's going to help you release all of that emotional baggage and that nagging little voice in the back of your head that's always telling you that you're not enough as who you are. So, again, if you do want more information on that, you can click those links down below to see my website and my email information. So behavior number 3 is going to be like being really cold and being really guarded with everybody. So this one's very common. This one has a lot of wounding and emotional pain that's at the core of it, and it makes you shut down from all types of intimacy. So, it has you blocking people out. It has you wanting to be distant from people. It has you distrusting intimacy. It has you sabotaging connections with other people before they really had the chance to develop. It kind of has you always looking for reasons to be disappointed, always looking for reasons to be like hyper vigilant. And this inner wounding really does give you the belief that you expect to be let down by other people. So it kind of has you always looking, it has you unconsciously looking to always prove that inner belief right. So it has you kind of staying hyper vigilant and never really being open to anybody. So it is really crucial to heal that inner pain so you can learn how to trust again. And it's not easy. It does take time and mentoring and the right support and practice. But, the feminine energy is all about getting to that point where you can remain open and warm and kind of soft in who you are, but yet solid and grounded in who you are, still having those sturdy boundaries and the ability to protect yourself and kind of have your back no matter what. So you see, that's a lot different than kind of blocking everybody out and being cold with everybody. So behavior number 4 is going to be control, controlling other people. So this one, usually when you feel out of control within yourself and when you feel unsafe within yourself, you tend to control external things to gain a feeling of safety. And the reason this affects your feminine energy is because no amount of external force or control is ever going to be enough to make you feel good about yourself. So this is where you might see people become nitpickers and naggers. They start to nag a lot, because they're trying to manipulate their surroundings. They're trying to control what's around them in order to make themselves feel better. They're trying to soothe that inner pain that might be there. And doing that actually leads to a lot of resentment because it does have you running away from yourself. You're not actually living in alignment with the real you. Your natural state, that natural state of divine feminine, is a feeling of embodied strength, and it isn't dependent upon anything or anyone external. So with this feminine ignited, you will get to a point where you're okay with other people being who they are, and having that inner knowing that you actually always have a choice when it comes to what you allow into your life. So you'll see yourself trusting that what's for you is for you and already yours, and you'll begin to align your actions with what you desire. And that's a lot different than kind of forcing and controlling or being aggressive with other people in order to get what you want out of them. So the empowered feminine, what I call the elite feminine, that elite feminine sovereignty, that's all about having freedom and strength within yourself. So this has you having that type of security for yourself, has you wanting to give other people freedom too, and that has you won't need to control or fix other people when you ignite that feeling of power within yourself, that feeling of security and groundedness within yourself, and you'll naturally kind of let go of anyone who isn't the right match for you. So usually that pattern of control has a lot of wounding at the core of it. A lot of these patterns and behaviors actually have a lot of pain that's there causing them. So, this can happen with men too. What's usually at the core of all of this is a powerless little kid within you. It's kind of desperate and trying to find safety and trying to survive. But you have to understand that it's you that has to give that inner child within you that safety and that healing and that feeling of protection. And you can do that through inner work. You can do that through healing, through the right mentoring, through the right programs. And when you finally come back home to yourself, come back home to that inner temple, life will get a lot brighter. You know, you will feel more fulfilled, and you'll start to see that anxiousness and that desperation and that control and that neediness for love, or that neediness for control. You'll start to see that melt away once you start to come back home to yourself and heal those inner wounds that might be there. You know, because you'll never find worthiness outside of yourself. That really is something that has to be created within you and by you. And it's not enough to just say that you're worthy, or say that you love yourself, or say that you value yourself. You really do have to feel it. You really do have to have that embodied inner knowing and really create that feeling of security from the inside out. So let's recap the 4 behaviors. Number 1 is going to be the good girl disease. Number 2 is the performer. Number 3 is being cold and guarded. And number 4 is control. So if you would like further support on this, I do highly recommend to check out my programs, because it's not enough to just intellectually understand these concepts or just kind of verbally say X, Y, or Z about yourself. You know, it really is important to actually know and understand how to move the information through your body. You know, you can do that through the more detailed inner work methods to actually heal these patterns and these behaviors and these habits for good. You know, because these patterns, they put you into survival mode. And it really is important to know that, you know, survival mode is a recipe for anxiousness and constant worry, because you're always going to be trying to manage the things that are outside of yourself. And doing that causes a lot of emotional baggage. It causes a lot of relationship problems, and just the overall feeling of of having like that self-doubt and that hypervigilance, always being on edge, looking for reasons to be disappointed. And that really is exhausting to live that way, you know. And your truth, you know, coming back home to yourself and being more embodied in that truth is knowing that you are inherently worthy and valuable no matter what. You know, and your feminine is all about being a self-sourced woman. So what that means is understanding that how you feel about yourself comes from you and comes from you only. And you don't have to sell yourself out or kind of perform or chase other people in order to get those crumbs from them. You know, you will learn how to become that gourmet meal. And it's actually a very powerful feeling of safety that you can provide for yourself when you learn how to become that gourmet meal. So again, you can view the links to contact me down below in the description. My email and my website information is already down below. All right, my ladies, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. I hope that was helpful. Leave me your insights or your comments or your questions down below in the chat box, and I will see you next week for Sovereign Sunday. All right, take care. Bye-bye.